videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior Infuso. And you remember that age-old phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Well, what would be the saying for something that just keeps breaking? Like, no matter how many times you put it back together or you rearrange it, it's beyond repair. What would you say to that? Because whatever it is, it might be a good opening line for this. Primo Cologne debuted with the WWE having some sort of animosity for his brother Carlito. And then, he didn't. Because it's wrestling. It's wrestling, who cares? Primo was put into a tag team with Carlito, which a lot of wrestling fans felt like it was trying to duplicate the success of Los Guerreros. I guess because, two second-generation Spanish relatives. Same thing. Same thing. The team did have some degree of success, winning the tag team titles for both brands. And then Carlito left, leaving Primo on his own. Or so it seemed. His cousin Epico, who somehow looks more like him than his own brother does, but I digress. His cousin Epico and his friend Hunico would begin teaming together, until Rosa Mendez came around and would replace Hunico, and honestly, fair trade, upgrade, good for you. The team would creatively be called Primo and Epico, and they'd begin a feud with Kofi Kingston and Evan Bourne, who were then going around as Air Boom. Eventually, they wound up taking the tag team titles off them, and in the process would be joined by Abraham Washington, despite already having a manager in valet Rosa Mendez. But sure, do you. And Abraham Washington immediately would turn on them to side with the primetime players. Of course, turning that into a feud over AEW's managerial services. Though, by time the feud ended, AEW was already fired from the company, so, I don't know what we're doing, but let's just do it, Following that feud, they'd fall into jobber status, being used only as enhancement talent in an effort to get other up-and-coming, or already established teams over. In 2013, they were strangely repackaged as Los Matadores, now being given the names of Diego and Fernando, and being given the mascot of a tiny bull in El Torito. Now, what I find strange about this, besides all of it, besides everything about it, is that during their entire tenure as Los Matadores, Primo and Epico remained on the roster on WWE.com. Diego and Fernando were also added to the roster page, as if they were supposed to be entirely separate characters, with Primo and Epico still being employed by the company, just never used. Everything about this was odd. First off, they looked like Tito Santana had gone through the Dreamcatcher and Danny Phantom. Secondly, they aren't Mexican. They're Puerto Rican. Why are they Matadors? And 3, just alone, why are they Matadors? And fourthly, if they are Matadors, why are they accompanied by El Torito? I mean, shouldn't they be in a feud with the little guy? I just... Teaming with the bull just seems like counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. That's all I'm saying, Now, granted, I've never gone out there with a red flag and tried to lure a bull in, but I also never successfully stepped foot in a wrestling ring. And here I am judging, regretfully, and this will be the end of whatever little semblance of credibility I have here. Whatever goodwill I've built up with you guys, I'm gonna end it all right now. I actually enjoyed this gimmick. I mean, sure, it's untimely and zany and completely out of there, makes no sense whatsoever. But that's kind of exactly why I like it, It's strange. It's all strange. Wrestling is strange. In 2015, regrettably, they lose El Torito and their gimmicks, so that they could pursue their next big career move as the Shining Stars. And I don't even know what to say about this. This was a brain fart. Its stench may always stay around. Now arrogant heels, the cousins would urge the audience and opponents to come down to the Caribbean. And they did the most dastardly thing you could do. Hand out brochures to come to Puerto Rico. Where do I begin? I don't know what this was meant to be, but I can tell you what it was. Stupid. This was lacking severely in the creative department. The gimmick never got over, and the company themselves seemed to acknowledge this as they dropped the gimmick just a mere year into their run as the Shining Stars. And for comparison's sake, Los Matadores lasted from 2013 all the way to 2015, which is like a whole more year. So I'm just saying. In 2017, they were rebranded once again as the Colognes, the name that they've continued to work under since. Which, truthfully, they should have just gone by from the start. Actually, come to think of it, Carlito and Primo should have gone by the Colognes. But what? They now work gimmickless and are just another bland team the company has on their roster, which is disappointing. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of these guys, but I think something could be done with them, like throw them a fucking bone here. Forget JTG. These guys are the real record breakers. Managing to keep a contract in the company for 8 years despite doing nothing of note. Wow, that's almost a decade full of just nothing. But good on you guys, you make your money. I mean, as wrestlers, there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, there's a style there, they can work fast-paced matches. It seems more than anything else, it's just, they've never been given anything to do. They've been there for 8 years, they had 1 tag team title run, 4 gimmicks, and just nothing. Just nothing to do but occupy space. I feel bad for them. I mean, it's not even their fault, you know? But then again, I'm sure at the end of the day, getting the paycheck is more important than, you know, getting the title. So with that being said, I'm the Social Injustice Warrior V Infuso, and if you like the words that came out of my mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's plenty more where this video came from. Follow me on Twitter because, hell, why not? It's not considered stalking if it's on the internet, am I right? And don't forget to join the Discord. I don't have anything catchy to add to that, but just join it. Just go do it. And if you have a free moment of time and a free dollar to spare, then head over to my Patreon, where for just $1, you too could help keep this boat afloat. And if you don't have that dollar, but you do have a free moment of time, then hit the share button. It will help me out tremendously.
VTards, oh.